Hey everybody, welcome to Haven for History. My name is Kelly Haven. Today I'm going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart, and that is the history of the Iroquois Steeplechase. Now, just a brief history. It runs in Nashville, Tennessee, where I live, every second weekend in May. This year, 2025, celebrates the 84th running of the Iroquois Steeplechase. I was going to use a thumbprint of a famous equestrian painter named Harry Hall of Iroquois. However, I do believe I'm having some copyright issues with that. So I will fix that, and I'm going to try to get this up in full form by this weekend. Now, Iroquois, the horse, was born in 1877. He dies in 1899. His owner is named Pierre Lourillard, and he is stalled primarily in Pennsylvania. Now, the seat of thoroughbred horse racing was in Tennessee during this time period, all the way really into the Gilded Age. It's going to flip up into Kentucky in the 20th century due to some social and political changes. Thoroughbred horse racing itself globally was huge, the sporting event of the time as well. Keep in mind, during this time, there was no football on any continent. There wasn't basketball. There was no hockey, at least the way we know it today. Baseball was on the horizon. However, it was not yet just the huge, sport, United States sport, actually, that it is today. It was thoroughbred horse racing. So, the superstar was an all-American athlete. Beautiful horse named Iroquois. Sleek, not particularly tall, 15 and a half hands. However, what is extremely important about Iroquois is that he was the first American-born horse to go to Europe and win. We're not that far out of the American Revolution. Tension is still high. Most horses were born in Europe and brought over here if they were purchased by an American. He was born and bred here. Now, he goes over to Europe and he slays them. He basically wins their Triple Crown. The Epsom Derby, the Prince of Wales, the St. Leger. I think he places second in the Guinness. So he really, like I said, no pun intended, he runs them over. He goes back to the United States to ticker tape parades. Extremely famous. He retires, 1886, goes to stud. First he goes to auction at Sotheby's in New York City. He is purchased by a gentleman out of Nashville named Brigadier General William Hicks Jackson, known as Red. He is the owner of the Belmead stud, which was really the southern premier stud for thoroughbred horse breeding in the United States. Now, when he gets down to Nashville, they house him, at least temporarily, so they can sort of expose him, to people. You have to understand, Iroquois is a star, so everybody wants to see him. He is housed and shown really at a place called Black's Stable. Black Stable, it says, is on North Cherry Street, and if my history is correct, Cherry Street is now 5th Street, and I have some pretty good history on Cherry Street, so I'm fairly certain that's correct. I have a really cool anecdote or quote from a guy named Leroy Jordan, who was a child at the time. Now, Leroy says he was a barefoot boy of 11 in 1886, recalled the excitement of the arrival. When Iroquois was brought in, people stood around and sung songs. He says they hollered and they yelped. They made up one song to the tune of Casey Jones. This song told how Iroquois had whipped the British. So they had a lot of fun. Now, another important thing, and I find it fascinating, he says it was a happy day, and according to him, blacks and whites of all ages danced and sung together. And this was at Black Stable and probably all over. Now, the important thing about that is sports really does have a sort of a community feel, and it brings people together. And Iroquois was such a superstar. Jockeys, and you can look this up, primarily were African-American enslaved jockeys at the time. So everybody, like I said, thoroughbred horse racing was huge. And so everybody had a stake in it, whether it was emotional or monetary or whatever. So people really, of all ages and races and classes, came together over Iroquois. Now, another thing I want to talk about briefly is the difference between an oval track and a steeplechase. A steeplechase is a distance horse race. Competitors are required to jump diverse fence and ditch obstacles. So it's a gauntlet. Primarily conducted in Ireland, where it originated, also Great Britain, Canada, United States, Australia, France, so globally, really. Now, the history of the Iroquois Steeplechase in Nashville at Percy Warner Park begins in 1941. This race attracts top horses, jockeys, trainers from all around the world, and serves as a major social event in the region. And that is true. I know. I have been to the steeplechase at least 15 times, I want to say. Not much in the past 20 years. However, in my youth, I went quite a bit. And truly, it is a rite of spring. That's what they call it, a rite of spring. Please come to Nashville. If you do come to Nashville, know that you probably should get a hotel room for a couple nights because it's a weekend event. It's very crowded, but it's so much fun and so beautiful. And you'll see so many great horses, beautiful horses. So we invite you to come to Nashville. Again, thank you very much. For some reason, I was cut off, but I am finished with today's story. And I want you to know that I'm going to have something else for you soon. So stay tuned for that. Again, this is Haven for History. My name is Kelly Haven. Until next time.